those players, and I know those guys play hard. They're in a lot of those into the games, and they found ways to win them. A lot of the things that we're challenging our guys with, these guys have put on tape this year. They've won a lot of those one-score games at the very end when it can go either way, and they made the plays. And so he's done a tremendous job there. And this is his third year, I believe. Really impressive.
Coach, what's your philosophy on injured players if they miss Wednesday's practice and they miss Thursday? I mean, is it on a case-by-case business? If guys Wednesday, Thursday practice, Friday, is it just case-by-case? You don't have a policy as such?
Yeah, it is. You got to factor in what's the type of injury. Some players can handle that on a short week. Some guys can't. Depends on the position you play sometimes. So, again, each one is unique depending on who it is and what position they play.
Coach, Zac, obviously it's going to be a meeting between you and Tannehill.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben, and then I'll come back to you, Bill.
Yeah, Zac, obviously this is going to be a meeting between you and Tannehill. What do you remember about y'all's time in Miami, and how beneficial was that for you in your career to get that experience, especially as an interim working with him?
Yeah, it was always I always really enjoyed working with Ryan. We were together 8 years. His 4 years as a player at Texas A&M and then 4 years in Miami. And I always think the world of Ryan. He's done a tremendous job over the course of his career. Have a ton of respect for his approach to the game, the way he's played the game, the way he's led the Titans. Really the year and a half he's put together there is not surprising at all. Tremendous person, tremendous family, and not surprised at all that he's having the success that he's having. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Coach. Your impressions of Derrick Henry, big running back that they have there.
Yeah, he's a load. He's got that rare combination of size and speed and strength, and he's one of the best to play the position, and you got to bring it when you're coming to hit him. And so, again, that's a key emphasis for our guys on defense.
Coach, I remember doing games, Big 12 games back when A&M was in the Big 12, and you guys had Ryan Tannehill playing wide receiver for you, and he was an accomplished wide receiver. I mean, he's a hell of an athlete. It wasn't just that, he's out there just to be out there. That dude, he ran routes. He was a hell of a receiver, wasn't he?
Well, he was a quarterback playing receiver. That was always a kind of a misconception of what went on there. He never went to a receiver meeting ever. He never practiced receiver. He just played receiver in games. That was it. He was always the backup quarterback, and he might take a third down rep or two if he hadn't run the route before. But that just speaks to his athleticism, his football IQ, and he was always really impressive that way. But you're right. I think he had 147 career catches at A&M and did a really nice job there.
Zac, how important was that relationship, not only at A&M, but at Miami in terms of your development as a coach and working with Ryan?
Yeah, it was, anytime you're a young college coach transitioning to the NFL, that is a big change. And so to have some familiarity, not only with the system, I was very fortunate, to work for my father-in-law, Mike Sherman, and to go into the NFL running the same system. So now you just had to learn the defenses that you were facing and some of the differences there. But then we drafted Ryan, who had the same familiarity with the system that we all did. And so it made for a seamless transition. Then you had Matt Moore in the room, who's a veteran quarterback who always did a great job for Ryan and for all of us. So it was interesting. Not many people go through a change like that, going from one team to another and running the same system and having the same quarterback. But that was something that I really enjoyed.
For the second straight week, you go against a defense that's very opportunistic. Cleveland was taking the ball away at a high rate going into last week's game, and now Tennessee taking it away at a high rate going into this football game. Obviously, ball security is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, they're getting the ball out. They're taking advantage of the tip throws. That's whether it's D linemen, linebackers, safeties, corners. When the ball's tipped up in the air, they go get it, and that's that's something we've emphasized already starting today. And again, they've done a great job, not just on defense, but on offense. I think they only have 3 turnovers on the year. So they lead the league in the turnover margin, and they've just done a tremendous job in both phases there.
Zac, is team building a delicate business, and can it be derailed by certain players not necessarily catching what you're pitching?
I think that it's always an ongoing process. It'll never be complete. And you just have your standards and your lines of communication that you've opened up with the players, and it can evolve over months, over years. And again, when you have 70 players in a locker room, there's always going to be challenges and people that are frustrated. And you just got to work in conjunction with the leaders on the team to manage all those situations, to make sure it's being handled exactly how we as Cincinnati Bengals want it to be handled from now going forward. And I think that we make progress in that area every week that we've been here. And so, again, just I think that we got a really good group of guys that are starting to see that and handling things the right way.
Are you happy with the way that when you do have a disruption as such, whatever that disruption is in terms of a player or whatever, that are you happy the way or pleased with the way that your veterans self-police the whole thing?
Yes.
Zach, there was a report that Carlos Dunlap was told not to show up today to practice. Is that true? And if it was, what was his reaction when he was told that?
Yeah, we'll keep all that stuff in house right now. And again, if something becomes official, I'll comment more on that.
Like you guys tried Fred Johnson at guard earlier in the year, and he got that start at tackle last season, came in at tackle Sunday. Is he maybe better suited, more comfortable at tackle than guard?
I'm hesitant to say that, but he's gotten most of his reps at guard. At tackle. That's the position he's played primarily in his life. He has worked guard when he was in Pittsburgh and some with us, but he's gotten most of his reps at tackle. It's likely the position he feels best at. He's really made a lot of progress these last couple of weeks. I know he got to play for us early in the season at guard, but just repping at tackle, he's been really competitive, really working on his craft. Jimmy and Ben have done a really good job pushing him, and so he's ready for an opportunity like this. If when he gets in there and has to play, we've got a ton of confidence in him. He's come a long way since he's been here. He's gotten a lot of reps, and so we're ready to see him perform.
Coach, is it a little bit more rhythmic back-to-back home games where you don't have to travel and come back, where you can just kind of get or stay in the rhythm just having the home-to-home game? Does that feel good to you guys in that respect?
It does. It's interesting you asked that, because just now at the walkthrough, staying out there on the field, it was the first time we've been out there since the game, and I've probably never thought that before, but it did cross my mind. Like, it is nice to play here another week and have 2 back-to-back home games, and you do feel a little bit different rhythm there. In this league, you got to be able to adjust because you're on the road, you're playing at different times, different days, whatever it is. But it is kind of funny you just asked me that, because about 30 minutes ago, I was thinking the same thing standing out there on the field.
Zach, when you look at a locker room full of guys, and I'm not even specifically asking about a specific situation, but a locker room 50-plus guys, how much of an impact, positive or negative, can one guy have? Like, can one guy make or break a locker room?
Yeah, that's where you want to be, is that it doesn't, and that the locker room can control a guy, whether it be positive or negative. And that's where we're headed, and again, I've got tons of respect for the guys that are in this locker room. They handle a lot of situations the right way. Coaching staff has done a great job. And, but again, it's always bigger than one person. It takes everybody in this building to make sure that we're all on the same page.
2 more minutes with Coach.
Zach, what's the biggest hurdle in roster building that you've come across, and maybe what's the biggest challenge that maybe outsiders don't see when you're doing that as a new coach?
Well, you run 2 different a new system on defense, new system on offense. You build it. You've got to build around the players you got, because some of them have talents that sometimes you got to suit your system to make sure you get the most out of them. And in other ways, you add players that you think best suit where you want your system to head. The biggest challenge is every team in this league faces the injuries, so you can't sit around and complain about it, because you might lose 2-3 offensive linemen, they might lose 2-3 defensive linemen. So it all evens out, and that's not something you can complain about. It is a challenge from week to week as you're getting through practice, especially at this point when you lose some guys and you're trying to get good quality reps at practice, and you're down a bunch of guys at one position. So you got to be smart about how you approach it and still get good work in.
Joe, earlier today, Coach was talking about how, he appreciates the growth between not only himself and in his level of play, but during the course of the week, the interaction between you, the offensive coordinator, the position coach, and him, everybody collectively kind of growing together and performing better on a week-by-week basis. Do you see it that way? I mean, it's proof in the pudding, the way he's playing, but it is because everybody's kind of in sync that way?
I think absolutely. And just, again, he's been on campus for probably 90 days now. And you're finally getting a chance to know these guys. And especially when you're in the heat of the battle like we've been in these however many games we played, 7 games. And so every week you feel like you know him better, T. Higgins better, Von Bell, Josh Bynes, all these new guys better as each week passes, and you have a better sense of how to communicate with them and get the most out of them. And so Joe and I, certainly as a play caller and as a quarterback, are growing every week together. And again, just been really impressed with his openness, his honesty, and how he approaches things and takes coaching, and is honest with his feedback. Is very helpful for me. That's something I always it's critical to our success.
One last question.
This situation kind of brought out a question that we've heard a lot around here, and that is Cincinnati being a place where they don't really want to win. That has been brought up. What does that mean to be a place where you want to win, and why do you believe that this is the right place right now?
Yeah, everything I've seen from this organization, nobody wants anything other than to win as many games, win as many championships as possible. And I felt that every single day I've been in here. So I don't worry about what people say about that, because I know what is true, because I see it every single day in terms of our communication from top to bottom of this building, from coaches to players, coaches to ownership. It has been tremendous. Wouldn't want to have it any other way than the way we have it structured. Would not, and it wouldn't change anything. And we're going to get there. It takes time. I know people have been frustrated with the lack of wins we've had so far, but it's being built the right way. The communication is great. We're all on the same page with who we add to this building, and just really excited for this week. Excited for the future. Excited for everything.
All right, Coach. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Coach.
Coach.